All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Learn Python with me. We are going through the Python Crash Course book. We are in chapter 4 and we are moving on to exercise 10. So, up until this point, between exercise 9 and exercise 10, what we have now learned is how to use slices. So, what this example is wanting us to do is use a previous list that we created in this chapter, but I don't have any lists that are long enough to complete this example, so I'm just gonna make a new list off the top of my head. So we're gonna get started how we normally do, and we're gonna create a new file, save it as a Python file, comment out our name and date. All right, so let's make a new list. I'm just gonna call this slice list. So for all you nerds out there, we're gonna make a list of Pokemon. So in this list, I'm just gonna put a few of my favorite Pokemon. We're gonna start off the list strong with Gengar. We're gonna do the one everybody knows and loves, Pikachu. We're gonna add one of my other really strong favorites, and it's a little bit basic, but we're gonna add Charizard. And one that people may not be coming. Oh, keep forgetting to add my quotations. Crobat. And lastly, let's just say Lapras. Right, so we got our list. It's gonna be 5 values long. And so what we want this to do is, using one of the programs you wrote in this chapter, add several lines to the end of the program that do the following. Print the message. The first 3 items in the list are, then use a slice to print the first 3 items from that program's list. Right, so first things we need to do is make a slice. So the way that we do that is just by creating a for loop, I believe, or we can actually skip that. We can just use a print function. So if we say print, and then we give it the name of the list, Pokemon, and then we give it a specific value. So the colon is what tells Python, when you're accessing this list, how to make that slice. So if we wanted to start off at line 1, we would have to do 0, because this is value 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though it's 5 digits long, you start at 0. And if we wanted to go all the way to the end, we would hit it with 4. So what this program should give us, if we navigate over to where I have my Python files, and then run the code, it'll give us everything in this list. Oh, sorry. So you have to add 1, because like in the previous examples, when we use range, it stops when it sees this final one. So this would be 6 long technically, but it stops once it sees 5, which doesn't exist. So if we save this, now we run it, now it has everything. So you can change this to 3, and that'll give us these first 3. And wouldn't you know, that's the first task that we were given. So we're gonna add in a line that says print, and what it asked us to say is the first 3 items in the list are, So when we save this and run the file, it'll give us the first 3 items in the list are, and then it prints out the first 3 items in that list. The next thing it wants us to print is 3 items from the middle of the list are. Right, so now we're going to use the slice again. So we're going to give it the name of the list, and then we're going to give it the values where we get Pikachu, Charizard, and Crobat. So we know this is 0, this is 1, so we start this one at 1, and we go to 0, 1, 2, 3. So we ended at 4 so that we can get the third one. So when we save this and run the file again, it now gives us the middle 3 set. And the final thing that example 10 wants us to print is the last 3 items in the list are. Right? And as you can probably guess by now, the last thing we do is give it the list, and we are starting at 0, 1, 2. So we're starting at 2, and we're going to the end. And a quick trick, instead of having to write 5 like we did last time, or 6, is you can leave this blank and it'll automatically go all the way up until the end. Same thing for this. If I take that out and we save this file, when we run it, you will notice that it still gives us the correct list items. So if you wanted to start at the very beginning, you can leave this blank and it will automatically start at value 0. And if you wanted to go until the very end, so I could leave both of these blank and it would go from end to end. So you can either go through and write 6 or 0, and either way, those will both give you the exact same things. So I hope you found this helpful. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, like it, share it, and if you want, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one, where we will be going over example 11.